In Mali, the national military, backed by French intervention forces, is fighting an Islamist resurgence in the country's north. Rebel fighters have launched a series of attacks on the city of Timbuktu. Let's now get some reaction from former Ethiopian diplomat Mohamed Hassan. Mr. Mohamed Hassan, despite the renewed violence, France still plans to start withdrawing its troops from Mali this month. When do you think we'll see a complete pullout?
Well, that I don't know. I think you better ask the French themselves. But my understanding of the situation in Mali, this is a redivision of Africa again. It is a scramble of Africa for the second time. Mali is the fourth biggest African country. The situation in Mali was not left that Malians to solve their own problem. In fact, what is funny of this intervention is that the French cover intervening in Mali, they say that it is for defending the sovereignty of Mali. Since when is that the French imperialists have defended the sovereignty of any African country? They are the only country who have been intervening in Africa for the last 3-4 decades by destroying the sovereignty of the nations and creating a problem for these nations. In fact, the Malian people, they were not allowed, and the Malian and political forces are not allowed to solve their own problem, Malian problem. The intervention from outside, came because of the position of France and UK is declining in the continent, the destruction of the Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's government, and a lot of Tuaregs who had been in the army, they have come into Mali, and a lot of weapons have been brought in and smuggled inside Mali. In Mali, the problem between the north and the south, it is not a new problem. It had been since the independence. In fact, in 1961, there was even an attempt to coup against the progressive government of Mali. Why the international community doesn't allow the Malians to solve their own problem?
But the Malians asked the French, sir, the Malians asked the French to come in and help them.
It is not the Malian, it is the puppet government of Mali who have asked. The Malian people didn't ask for intervention. The Malian people, they wanted to solve the problem on the table among the Malians. This is, in fact, creating a contradiction. The intervention is that you create a contradiction and finally you try to solve it in order to manage. This is a management of crisis.
Okay, so what
were the
main
issue behind this intervention?
What were the French doing
Well,
there?
The French are defending their own interest. As you know, that the African continent is the wealthiest continent, even though it is inhabited by poor people. We know that it is the trade between Africa and China is increasing, and also with the BRICS country increasing. And you know that France is now declining. It became the third trading partner in Africa, and United States had replaced France and became the second. As you know that it is even United States have put in its military base as an Africom in Niger. You know that 75% of the French electricity is used through the nuclear, and most of the raw materials is coming from Niger. The main purpose is that France wants to reposition her position there, and she thinks that she will be dislocated from this richest continent, and it is, in fact, it's a scramble.
Africa is a rich continent, but it doesn't. Africa is a rich continent in so many ways, but it doesn't seem to have control over its inner dealings. Hence, asking for foreigners to come in and take their own power away.
Well, to control, you need a popular government, and you mobilize the population. You don't control. You cannot control by your own national resources and wealth by having a puppet government have been put in by external forces. There is no national discussion in Mali, and there was no possibility was allowed for the Malians to discuss. As far as the problem between the north and the south, it had existed. Mali is the fourth biggest country in Africa. It has an immense wealth, and the French, they want that is to dominate the area and to put their own position there for the coming decades. The BRICS countries, Brazil on one side, India and China, trade is increasing. China is the fastest, Africa is the fastest growing continent now. It's more than 5.6% growth in a year after Asia. And the major trade is that it is with China. And those looters who just wanted to loot the walls of Africa as usual as they did it in the past, now they are panicking. They have overthrown the government of Libya illegally by NATO bombardment and putting today Libya into a miserable situation. This is the same imperialist intervention for the scramble of Africa. It has nothing to do with the right of self-determination of Libya, of Malian people.
Mr. Hassan, I wish we had I wish we had more time with you to continue with this conversation, but I hope we'll get you to come on the show once again. Thank you so much for your insight and your views on this subject. Mr. Mohammed Hassan, Ethiopian diplomat, speaking to us live there.